Hola, hola. Good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes. My name is Patricia Perez, and I am AARP California State President Emeritus. My pleasure to welcome you on behalf of AARP. So anyway, it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of AARP California to our monthly financial series. Let's talk dinero. Because planning for your financial future starts today. We know it is overwhelming, balancing your responsibilities along with your checkbook and with everything else. But I know many of us are responsible for our entire familia and everybody's financial future. So it's important that we all, keep on top of everything. And for most of us, our most valuable asset and the cornerstone for building family wealth is our home. So today we're going to talk about the steps needed to becoming a homeowner. And of course, if you already own your home, don't worry, because we have an expert to answer your questions. Last month, we talked about debt management and the importance of building your credit. If you missed it, you can view the recording, on the Let's Talk Dinero site. And today you'll know about what you need to qualify for a home loan, first-time home buyer programs, refinancing, and more. So to help us today's discussion, we have a financial well-being coach for Operation Hope, Isabel Duran de Gallegos. Isabel is dedicated to offering credit and money management workshops and one-on-one counseling. Her mission is to provide adults and families with foundational information on budgeting, savings, and credit report monitoring. Isabel is certified as a HUD home buyer workshop counselor and has more than 20 years of experience working with nonprofit organizations that provide services to help people who need education, counseling, resources reach their financial goals. Isabel, that's a lot of stuff, you have a, long resume, but welcome, bienvenida, Isabel. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about your work and to get people, informed on how to become homeowners.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you so much. You make me sound so smart.
You are.
Fortunately, I was blessed with having some good jobs in the past, and that gave me a lot of experience, especially with small businesses. And from there, in that organization that offered small businesses, they always had a shortage of coaches for home buyer education. So back in 2003, if you can believe that, I remember doing a workshop for home buyers who were looking for a certificate so they can get a discount with their loan process. And the houses were like 180,000. Interest was 6% if you had good credit.
Wow.
And then the following year, houses went up 200,000. And then the following year, they kept going higher and higher faster. And of course, that was the beginning of the big crash on and started the recession. And then I was laid off, but I found another job. And once you know it, it's for foreclosure prevention. So all those people who got an easy home, unfortunately, couldn't afford it. And so we were helping them get out gracefully from losing their homes. And then I became a credit counselor and reverse mortgage. So I just want to say, I remember studying for reverse mortgage was really difficult because my thought process was trying to help people, get good credit, get a loan and pay on time and pay off their house. And the reverse mortgage is going backwards, and I couldn't handle that. So finally my husband says, teach me so you could pass the test. And we were arguing because it's a difficult topic. It's a little difficult to understand, but I got through it.
And I'm sure people are going to have questions for you today, so I hope you're able to answer those.
Yes. And I'm so glad that nowadays all the banking systems still have options to help people with with issues. I know I was so proud of them with the pandemic. They offered forbearance. And then after that, some assistance with modifications, and they're still offering options. So it's pretty good.
Perfect. And I want to remind people who are joining us today, if you have questions, please add them to the chat. Isabel, I'll be checking those and asking them for you. So don't worry about that. I'll be asking the questions. So please, if anybody has a question, just include them in the chat. But as we start our, discussion, I want to have a poll right now. I just want to know of the people watching right now. I would love to know if you are currently a homeowner. So we'll start with just one simple question. Do you own your home? So yes or no, please just let us know if you're a homeowner. Just answer your question. Yes or no? Some people adding it on the chat, others here on the poll question. So, okay, we have people just submitting their votes right now. Just give it a moment more. It's pretty evenly split. All right, I'm going to end the poll. Yeah, it's pretty even. Here, so say pretty even. We have, more people that own the home, but it's not, so bad. Perfect. Thank you all for, so Isabel, a little bit more than half of the people watching us already own their home, but we have quite a number who do not. So please, why don't you start by telling us just the first basic steps for the home ownership process? Like, what's the first thing that people should do?
They should sit down with their family, or their, I'm thinking about sitting down with their spouses and talking about, I really want to buy a house. I'm tired of renting, and trying to get to the same, get on the same table and start thinking about, so what do? Do we start saving now? Do we start paying off debt? We need to get some information. Who can we call? What's out there? Maybe I can call my friend who's a lender and so they could tell me. So it's basically making the decision, and mentally and physically saying they're ready to start the process. Buying a home is pretty big decision, and it does change your life from a small apartment to a house, small bills to larger bills. Also getting enough of money saved and understanding what the credit requirements are. So I'm glad they're here. I always suggest talking to a HUD counselor. We are trained, and we do continuous training every 2 or 3 years.
Start again. Yeah, go ahead. Don't worry, Isabel.
Okay. So we're trained to follow the guidelines of HUD of what is necessary to teach clients about homeownership, so they can have the best chance to be successful. And basically, we start with assessment, having the thought, having the plan, deciding that you're going to dedicate a lot of your time planning for this. And so in the slides, I do talk about thinking about the difference between renting and buying, and how the pros and cons, because sometimes it's just not easily done within a year or 2 years. You need to think about your renting, you're comfortable in your rental, and you can start saving as opposed to moving out right away and you're not ready. So it's basically thinking about it. And that's the first step. The second step, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Isabel, do you have a presentation? You have slides or you refer to slides.
Right, it's like a guideline to show you what steps we take. I don't know if Adriana has the home buyer orientation slides.
Yeah, that's okay then.
No, I have them. I have another slide.
Yeah, because so basically, Isabel, what you said, the first step, of course, is like talking to your family, right? So then you can develop your financial plan, because like you said, buying a home is a huge decision, and it's going to impact everybody. So the first thing is talk to your family, develop your financial plan, and then the third thing you mentioned was identify resources, right? You talked about HUD and a couple of other resources that are out there that would give, talk to people that lenders, just to see what is available and just start doing your homework, correct? So
Yeah.
those are kind of like the steps
Right.
that you mentioned.
Right. Counseling, talking to your banker, what kind of loan programs do they have? And not talk to a realtor yet. You can talk to a realtor and ask them, what's the market like? What kind of houses are there? It's just that sometimes I see that
Yeah,
realtors will steer you, and I'd rather have you get as much information as you can. Can you see the slides?
yes.
All right, let me move this a little bit. Slideshow, so I can start from the start. Can you see this?
Yes, but you could put it on, if you do it on presentation mode.
There we go. All right. Can you see this?
Yes.
All right. All right. So I work for Operation Hope. It's a really interesting organization, really strong, growing. I love the president, who always considers making things more exciting, more useful for the coaches. And so they created all these programs to help us explain and educate the community. So we do quite a few things: credit and money management, small business training, entrepreneurial training, financing your business, home ownership. That's a biggie that we really always concentrate on, and basic banking. So assessing home ownership readiness and total cost of a mortgage, types of loans, getting approval for a mortgage, home ownership process, and post-funding. So could stop me when it's too much to understand, because it's a lot of detail. So we always talk about, why are we always wanting to buy a home? What is it about buying a home? So we feel buying a home is your first step to getting into a major investment of your life that actually pays you in the end. And it's just exciting. I'm always excited because I just see the goodness of owning a home, but it does take some time and work. But the advantages that you will find is that you can write off on your taxes the interest on your loans and the property taxes. We still have those write-offs. I remember when my sister got her first home and did her first tax return, and she got a big refund, and she was so excited. She actually redid her roof. Good for her. So that was fun to see her face. She was so happy. It's a long-term investment. So every time you make a mortgage payment, you pay the loan and think of it as you're paying yourself an investment. It helps you with stable housing costs. You get a fixed loan, your loan payment's the same for 15 or 20 or 30 years, depending on what you choose. And it creates wealth. No matter what the economy says and does, your house value will go up and down as things go up and down in life. But in the long term, it will always increase. Just an example, my parents bought this house for $95,000 in 1988, and it's worth $600,000 now. All they had to do was work hard. Both of them worked hard, and they make their payments on time, and they paid it off in 30 years. And then they sat back and they go, I think we should go shopping, or I think we should go traveling. And it was kind of fun seeing them retire with their home paid. So that's something to look forward to. And you leave a legacy. Unfortunately, they did pass away, and they had a family trust, which helped my brother, my sister, and I. It's something that you can leave your kids if you have children. And it has value, and the equity does increase in spite of everything. That's what's exciting about owning a home. Unfortunately, it requires work. It decreases mobility. So I know with an apartment, you can pack things up in a car, move to another apartment. With a house, it's very difficult to move from here to there, because by the time you settle into your home, you have large furnitures. So that's going to be hard. Repairs and maintenance. I remember I was in shock when I had to redo my roof because it leaked. I thought roofs lasted forever. They don't. So I became my own landlord, and I fixed that roof, of course, with
Yeah.
a roofer.
And I see all these other, some of these bullets are all about these unexpected expenses, right? The property taxes, the additional costs, things that come up, just from having a home. And some of them, property taxes you expect, but, all these things, yeah, like you said, your roof, your plumbing, or something happens, and these are big ticket items. So all these additional costs. And you mentioned the value and the equity going up and down.
So this is what we want to inform people in the workshop, that they don't buy this house by themselves. They create a dream team. The counselor, the lender, the realtor. You're going to have an appraiser and a home inspector. And these things that you need once you move in, like a plumber, a roofer, electrician, gardener. These are people that are going to be part of your team to make your home successful to live in.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to tell you.
But that's that team concept that you talked about. That's what you were talking about also when you said the first thing is like talk to your family, because everybody's going to be in it together, right? It's going to impact everybody, the mobility of the family, everything, the finances, the disposable income. So, yep, start talking to your family, develop a plan, and then go to the experts like Isabel. All right, here's the money part.
Right. We love to compare what happens when you rent and when you buy. Of course, this is a monthly rent from years ago, $1,200 a month. Probably that's only for one bedroom now. And what you end up paying per year is $14,400, and a 5-year rental is $72,000. You could turn that into mortgage payments, and that becomes your equity. So this is why we want to compare. And so we talk to clients who are interested in buying. We have a conversation, and so we say, well, how much can you afford? And I do it without, imploring into their privacy, but I do say, how much money do you make? What's your household expenses? And that way we know what the lifestyle is. And sometimes, we do some suggestions to cut back on some costs that you really don't have to make, and then start using that money to save as part of your budget. So we go through some calculations based on your gross income. We do look at 50% calculation of debt to income. and see how much of a house you can afford. And that's how they calculate how much of a house you can afford based on your gross income. So we talk about what affects your gross income. That would be your debt. So if you have a car payment, if you have credit cards, we tell them, if you were able to pay it off, pay it down, then we would look at your pure gross income, and maybe you can afford more of a house as opposed to having a car loan or a credit card that would make you afford something less. So
Yeah.
this is some of the things we tell them. This is how they find out what they can afford. Because the
Yeah.
lender is not going to give you a loan if you can't afford it.
Right. Last time we talked about debt management. I know somebody's calling you of it, but last time we talked about debt management, and for people who missed it, there's a recording of it, and exactly what Isabel was talking about, of just looking at your income and the debt, and looking at how to reduce some of that, so that way, like you said, right, your income minus your fixed expenses. So you're trying to get those as low as possible. So then what you would qualify for a loan, right? It's pretty much what kind of a loan you would qualify for, because then that will dictate the size of the house you're able to get. How much of a
Exactly.
house. Perfect.
Yeah.
What kind of loans are there?
Let's see. I would say, hold on.
I know we talked all these things about your credit and all of that. Please refer to, our last one on debt management. She did an excellent presentation on how to manage your debt. So, if you haven't viewed that recording, it's
not in here. Basically,
I don't mean to rush you. You go through your presentation.
no problem. That's a good question, because really there's two types of loans. There's the FHA loan, which is the government sponsored, government guaranteed loan. And that's to help people who don't have a high credit score, but their credit report looks good, and they may not have a huge amount of a deposit. Because with an FHA loan, you can get a loan with 3.5% of the purchase price as a deposit, which really helps a lot. And then if they're approved for the FHA loan, then the loan is guaranteed by the government or by HUD. And that way they can buy the house that they can afford. The other loan is what we call conventional loan. And that's what the bank or the direct lender has to offer as their own portfolio. So the lender will, once you're ready to talk to the lender and get a pre-approval, they will ask for your income, pay stubs. They will pull your credit report, and they will ask for your budget in order to find out how much of a house you can afford. And
Isabel, what are the options for conventional loans? You talked about a fixed rate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. The conventional loan is the portfolio of the bank or the direct lender. When you say options, usually they follow the interest rate that the market has, and you need 20% down. However, we know many people don't have 20% of the purchase price saved yet. So we do talk about down payment assistance programs. However, many banks have what they have is a grant to help you with that deposit, to add to the money that you've saved, to add to the deposit, and also to cover the closing costs. So if you have 3.5% down saved, but you want to add, you want to have more down payment in order to lower the loan, the lender can offer their grant for the loan. For instance, Bank of America right now has $10,000 to offer you as a grant to help you with the budget. I'm sorry, with the deposit or the closing costs. Bank of the West has like 16,000, provided you buy in LA County. And I'm thinking of Union Bank has 7,000. And I'm looking at other banks, but I haven't gotten their down payment.
So Isabel, you're saying that if you go to a bank, they have these, programs or grants if you don't have the full amount, but it has some parameters, whether it's like geographic area or income, right? Or what are those parameters for people to qualify for those?
You qualified with a credit report, with a credit score that's higher than 650. And they look at your income, make sure you can afford it. And they want to see your down payment savings or reserves. And then it's like you're qualifying for the loan, and they offer this as a plus, this grant to help you even be able to afford it easier.
Okay.
So those are really the two types of loans: the conventional loan, which the bank offers, and the FHA.
And Isabel, why don't you tell people about, like a fixed or variable rate loan?
Right now, we really counsel homeowners to stay with fixed loans, with a fixed interest rate. And depending on the amount of money you save for the deposit, you can use some of your deposit money to buy points to lower the interest rate. So that's one way of going around and lowering the interest rate. The other thing is the adjustable. There's I want to say three adjustables depending on the time. So what they'll offer you is an adjustable rate where the first year is the low interest. And then after a year, it goes back to a regular interest, a higher interest rate. And that's only if you're able to foresee in a year that you're going to get a raise, or you're going to pay off those two cars you have, and you're able to afford it. There's the 5-year fixed, and then after that, the interest rate goes back to fixed at a higher rate, and 7-year adjustable, where the first 7 years are lower interest rate, and then after 7 years, it goes back up to a regular. That's the only thing. We suggest those loans if you're buying a house and then you go, my boss told me that our company may be moving to Ohio in 7 years. Maybe I should get an adjustable rate because I'll be able to sell the house in 7 years and not have to go pay that higher interest rate. And I can sell the house and then buy 2 houses in Ohio because it's cheaper there. But adjustable rates, we don't promote them like we used to. Because we feel that the economy is just going up and down. It's better to stay fixed, and it's going to be a fixed payment.
Perfect. And Isabella, I interrupted you. I know you were going to go through some slides. Anything else you want to go through? I know we went through all credit and all of that last time, but anything else you want to go through? If not, you can close your presentation and we can, answer some questions.
This is just a brief about qualifying. We're looking
Perfect.
at credit. If you have some negative credit indicators like late payments, bankruptcy judgments and collections, high amount of outstanding debt, too many inquiries, just to remind you that inquiries come from when you apply for credit, you're looking for credit. If you're looking for a mortgage, you can call the lenders, you can talk to the direct lenders, you can call and ask information they're glad to give you information, and then they want to keep calling you so they can have you as a client. However, it's better that you get the information and figure out which lender do you want to go based on the cost of the loan, the interest rate, the timeline. You have you have that right. You have that right to get that information. But every time you apply for credit, just to see if they give you credit, it's called a hard pull, and it shows up as an inquiry on your credit report. And a lot of creditors, lenders get a little nervous when they see like 5 or 6 inquiries within a month. It's like, why are you looking for
Mhm.
money? What's the desperation? So just kind of plan that out. And of course,
And,
go
and
ahead.
sorry, and you mentioned credit report. How would people know where or how to get their credit report to see some of these things that you mentioned here?
Well, thank God, annualcreditreport.com is still offering free credit reports once a week from each bureau. So you just go to the website, annualcreditreport.com, go in and create your profile, your password, your PIN number, and then choose one of the credit bureaus. And then next time, choose another credit bureau. Before the pandemic, you were only able to get it once a year from each credit bureau. And now with the pandemic, they're offering it every week. You can get your credit report every week. It's good to get all 3 because you want to see what everyone reports on your credit. Because some small stores, independent car dealers don't always subscribe to all 3 credit bureaus. They'll maybe subscribe to 1 or 2. And so when you pull one report, it might not have all the credit information from another credit report, just to be on the safe
Yeah.
side.
And the credit report, when you get it, it would show some of these items, right? It would show the, like, if you have, obviously your credit score, but any bankruptcies or things like that, or just debt that you have, and you can talk to those companies and see if they can clear it off your report.
Absolutely. They're supposed to put it on your credit report. If you file for bankruptcy, you'll see that on the first thing you see on your credit report. And it'll tell you when you filed, when it was discharged, depending on the bankruptcy 7 or 13. Judgments are when you don't go to the court and talk to the judge to make payment arrangements. If you don't go to the court, the creditor wins the case and will put a judgment on your credit report. And collections, well, collections, if you don't make
Right.
your payment, it's there. So the mortgage lenders really don't like to see collections or judgments or judgments. Bankruptcies, you would probably have to wait 4 years to. Some lenders will accept a 2-year period of when you last filed for bankruptcy. Most banks want it 4 years. There's some strict banks who want it 6 years, but you just call the lender and say, if I have a bankruptcy, how many years do I have to wait?
Yeah, and it's good to know, of course, get your credit report, because this will, of course, tell you whether you qualify for a loan or not, and all of that.
Yes, yes. So
Perfect.
that's what will help you get the mortgage. The second part will be your income. So they do want to see your employment or your source of income. They want to see that you have a reliable source of income. So if you're full-time, part-time, overtime, they want to see your pay stubs, commissions. They want to see your statements for the last 6 months. If you're self-employed, you have a profit and loss statement. They want to see your tax returns for the last 2 years. If you're self-employed, they want to see your profit and loss from your tax returns. Salaried employment, they want to see your pay stubs for the last 4 weeks. Seasonal employment. So a lot of lenders do help people who work in the farms where they have periodic employment, during the summer or the fall, and they get their pay stubs, they do tax returns, and they'll take that. Also, if you're on Social Security, they want to see your benefit award letter. If you want to use your disability income, again, the award letter, annuities,
So,
and
yeah, so you just need to show proof of all the income that you have that's coming to you.
oh
So
yeah,
the more the better, right? So any kind of income you have, of course, child support, whatever it is, you just demonstrate proof, right?
yeah. If that helps out, it just shows that you can afford the house, and
Mhm.
that's what we want to do. They will look at debt. They do have an exception for student loans. They will talk to you about that. Installment debt, auto loans. If you owe less than 10 months of auto loans and you'll pay off the car, they won't include the auto loan in your figuring of how much of a house you can afford. Revolving debt, credit cards, they'll take a look at them. I would like to tell you, please pay down your credit cards. Don't close them. Just try to pay down the debt. That'll make you look better. Payroll deductions, sometimes, you borrow from your boss, or you have a 401k. You can actually, if you have a 401k, you can actually ask the administrator if you can borrow from your 401k to help you with the down payment. A lot of 401ks do offer that, and it's a good resource. And then down payment. This is what we call for the deposit. Down payment, you can get help from families. Maybe they want to help you. And so they'll want to see a gift letter. They want to see the source of the money. They will ask for the parents' bank statements that will prove that they have that gift for you. And then we do have assistance throughout the city, the county, the state. Different cities have down payment assistance programs, even Santa Barbara. I always joke around with a lender. I want to go to Santa Barbara, but I got to save up some money for the $1 million houses there.
And where could they find those city assistance programs?
Well, I have some slides if I have time to share, but for California, you can go to the State of California website and just say down payment assistance in California. And then they will ask you what county you're looking for, and they'll give you several resources in the county of wherever you're looking for. As far as the county, you can also look up your county. Los Angeles County has a down payment assistance, and then various cities have a down payment assistance. And they popped up over the last 3 months, I think, because of the pricing of the house has discouraged some homeowners. And so I'm seeing a lot more money being registered that there's available money.
And Isabel, that assistance that you're talking about, is it similar to the grants you were talking about that the banks offered? Or how do those assistance programs work? Those down payment assistance programs?
Yeah, well, you have to see what the requirements are, because there are income requirements. And it's usually, if it's a city down payment, they want you to buy in the city. You do have to take a 8-hour workshop offered by HUD. And yeah, I have some information if you're interested.
Perfect. So there's some requirements. Sometimes it's for first time home buyers. And so you just need to look at the requirements in your area. But that would be also part of the homework part, is looking at these, government programs available as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some nonprofit organizations that actually partner with a bank and a community to help with low income housing, and they have down payment assistance. One of the most popular one is the Habitat for Humanity. Once they get into a project, they do work with a couple of lenders and companies that offer donations and help. And then they start refurbishing or remodeling or building homes in a community. and then they advertise and they offer workshops and they help you try to get a home there. So those are fun. I like those.
Perfect. Anything else? Oh, closing costs, go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a cost for the application. So once you're approved for the loan and you find out how much of the house you can buy, and you talk to a realtor and you find a house, you get a offer accepted. Then you talk to the lender, say, I found a house, I signed the purchase agreement. So you can now do the final review of the loan. And the lender will say, great. They will ask for a copy of your purchase agreement. And then they start doing a massive review of your information to approve your loan. And they send you a truth in lending document that will list the closing costs. They have to tell you that this will be part of the cost to buy a house. So mortgage points or mortgage fees, fees for loan processing, loan application, credit reports, title insurance, surveys, lenders, attorneys fees. So we don't have attorneys here that help you with the escrow, but we do have the cost to transfer from the seller to the buyer, your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance. They will ask for 6 months worth of homeowner's insurance, and then on the property taxes, they'll ask for 3 months ahead of time money to be part of the closing costs, and then of course the fees for the loan processing, the escrow officer, the title insurance. So these are fees that are one-time fees in order to pay for the cost of lending you a mortgage.
And you're mentioning that it could be up to as high as 5% of your total mortgage. And Isabel, are all these fees, added to the cost of the house, so it goes into your mortgage, into your loan? Or is this an additional cost you have to pay? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's part of the deposit. Some fees do go into the mortgage if you're approved, because you don't want the mortgage higher, because then the payment has been calculated based on your gross income. So it's really preferably the cost is part of the deposit that you're going to have to get from the bank that's offering the grant, or the savings that you have, or a grant that you get from another organization.
Perfect. And once again, if anybody has any questions, please include them on the chat, or just, write them on, and we'll have Isabel answer your questions. Was this your last slide, Isabel?
I think so. Oh, points.
Okay.
One of the, I like this. It's a little confusing, but I like the option that they offer you. What's a point? It's a ability to buy a point based on the percentage of the loan amount. So depending on the loan, let's say the loan is 500,000. You want to buy, 1% of that is 5,000. If you can get $5,000 more for the deposit, in order to lower the interest rate from 6% to 5 3/4, there would be a big difference on your mortgage payment. And again, I'm just throwing numbers off the top of my head, but it works that way, where if you can pay a little bit more, your interest can go down, and that will stay for the life of the loan. Or if you're short on closing costs, you can actually ask for the interest rate to go up a quarter, 6 1/4, and then they can give you the amount of points that it would have been that in order to cover the closing costs. So I like where they try to help people, really, all the corners cut all the corners in order to help them out. Okay, so I have a question. Do lending brokers have access to B of A loan that provide additional grant money towards your down payment? Okay, lending brokers. So you have bankers who are loan officers in the bank. Then you have direct lenders that are. I'm just trying to think of Guild Mortgage. There's another various direct lenders that are just strictly mortgage lenders. And then there's brokers. And brokers, lending brokers are agents who work with you to try to find you a lender who will accept your information with, you know, your credit report, your income, and see if they can offer you a mortgage loan. Perhaps the other loan lenders didn't offer you or didn't accept or didn't approve you. And so a lending broker can help you find a lender way back that can help you. Unfortunately, though, with lending brokers, they charge you a commission. So that will be added on to your closing costs, where you have to pay a commission for a broker. Brokers should know about the types of assistance that banks offer. But I know there's like 100,000 banks out there in the United States. So I don't know if they have access, but they may have information, because you can't access the B of A grant money if you're going to another lender. But if the lending broker has a relationship with a Bank of America mortgage lender, that's when it works out. You know, he's referring you as a client to the B of A loan.
Perfect. Isabel, is this the end of your presentation? Because you
Yeah.
can close the presentation.
Okay.
Perfect. So you talked about more or less what people need, right? They need their down payment, and then you have to think of all these, you know, the closing costs, you have to think of the points, and everything else that goes with the loan. How much of a down payment should people think of having, Isabel?
Well, if FHA is accepting 3.5% of the purchase price. So let me get my calendar. I don't know if you have a calculator real fast. If we're looking at a $600,000 house times 3.5%, you're looking at 21,000.
Perfect. And then there's opportunities, right? From whether it's a bank or from, you know, government lenders, you know, your county, your city, to look for additional support, right? And sometimes it's, you have to go through a program, you have to take a class, qualify for that, and then you're able to get either a grant or, you know.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, the city of Los Angeles has from 90,000 to 140,000 a down payment assistance program. We call it Asylum Second. And then the county has $85,000. California, CalHAFA has 15,000 for different counties. I love Pomona. This is a new one. Pomona offers 100,000.
And you know, so there's money out there for people who want to buy a house. And I know that California can be pricey. And before we end, I know we're almost at the end, but I want to have another poll question talking about California. And I'd love everybody to be able to afford a house here. But the poll question is asking you whether you have thought of leaving California because of the high costs of homes.
Yeah.
So I know that we have some people who are interested. Sorry, this is not the right question. We're still in the homeowner. I currently homeowner. So the second, there we go. Now we have the right one. I have considered leaving California because of the high cost of homes. Please let us know. I know, about half our audience does not own a home. So if you're looking to buy a home, please let us know. And that's important for, we have to me, it seems like we have great quality of life in California, but sometimes, people may find other states more interesting. And the poll says, no, people are not interested. Well, the majority of our viewers are not interested in leaving the state. I mean, 30% are, but thank you for letting us know, because that's very important to know if you think that California is out of reach. And Isabel has been wonderful in sharing some of these amazing resources that are available to people. And Isabel, in your experience, what are the biggest challenges for someone who is trying to become a homeowner?
Well, right now it's just finding a house. To be honest with you, everybody, I'm really proud of them. Everybody's really getting ready. Before it was always a lack of enough money and deposits. Now everyone is really much qualifying. It's just finding the house. That's the only thing.
Yeah, so finding something that and what tips do you have for people? I know, for example, my sister knew the area she wanted. She was leaving notes. She was, driving by every weekend, every week. What's tips do you have for people?
Well, be realistic. I'm sure you've heard of the problem that there's not enough housing. Housing's gone up, rentals high. It's just I keep thinking about the TV movie Hunger Games, where they trained Jennifer Lawrence. They trained her to be a warrior,
Yeah.
and she fought and won at the end. And so I'm thinking, just get enough information. Go to a counselor, take a workshop. They're free. Counselors are free with HUD, and get the information. And then just, be like a warrior. Just get your information, get prepared. And then I remember this realtor says, I had this family of 4 who found a condo, a 2-bedroom condo, because that was all they could afford and all they could find. And 4 years later, they were able to save up enough money to sell their condo, where they got a good profit out of it and help buy a 3-bedroom house. So, start thinking about, start with a small house, or, it's just a matter of like your first car. It's not a brand new car, it's a used car. It could be a used Volkswagen, but, eventually you could save money. So I just tell people, don't get discouraged. Just keep at it. This is your dream. This is your passion.
And people sometimes forget that this, what you started talking about, that this is like your biggest investment, right? So
Yeah.
think of it as your investment rather than your dream home, or that could become, that could come later, but think of it as what's going to give you the biggest return and get you to your end goal. Like you said, maybe it's a start condo and then, move up from there. And
Right.
don't fall in love with a house, don't fall in love with a house, because your heart's going to break many times.
Right. Yeah. It will happen. It's just give yourself, time, be patient with yourself. And I think it's going to work out.
Perfect. So as many people have heard, there's various programs that can be helpful as you plan to start your financial planning. And as a reminder to our guests, there are resources that can be found on the Operation Hope website at operationhope.org. So operationhope.org. And we always recommend that people consult with a professional who can help you based on your own individual situation and future needs. And in addition, AARP provides many, many resources and information available at aarp.org/retirement planning or at aarp.org/money. So there's a lot of information on retirement planning or on aarp.org/money. So everybody wants dinero, and this is a great way to start. There's many resources available, to you. And Isabel, before we end, are there any final comments? Oh, thank you, Adriana. Just put them on the chat so you have them right there, the sites. Isabel,
Yes.
any final advice or comments that you have?
Well, I just saw a question about avoiding lenders' fees. The lender, if you're talking about a broker, you don't pay the lender. The lender gets paid by the company that they work for. Usually the direct lender or the bank, they're on salary. But if you go with a broker, you will have to pay a commission with them. If the lender asks you for a fee, do not pay. They don't do that. That's fraud. Sorry. Sorry, lenders.
Yeah. And what final advice or recap would you have for people who are interested in buying a home?
There's quite a few real estate agents that I've done workshops for, and they always have a list of properties that are available. So in spite of the fact that sometimes it's hard because there's always 10 offers per house, again, don't give up, keep looking, enjoy the journey, and you can look back and say, wow, I did it. So I just wish everyone positivity. It's going to work. You just have to make sure you have all the details. That's
Yes.
all.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, talk to the professionals, right? Do your homework, see what is out there, develop your financial plan, right? Make sure you clear your debt and you have your plan for saving and you know what is available, all these additional programs, and then you're able to move forward with that. I want to give a very special thanks to all of you for joining us, and to Isabel, of course, for all her amazing insight. Thank you for joining us for Let's Talk Dinero. We'll continue collaborating with financial experts across the state to talk about retirement planning and lots more. Please join us in November for our next event, and you can visit our website at aarp.org/Let's Talk Dinero. ARP/Let's Talk Dinero to view the previous recordings that I mentioned earlier and all our upcoming events. Mil gracias, Isabel. Thank you for joining us, and thank you all for joining us today. I hope you found this helpful, and buena suerte as you plan your financial future. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia and Adriana. Bye-bye.